Okay, so welcome to this session. So now, if you remember that in the last session we discussed about some basic flows. So one was, let's say, uniform rectilinear flow. Then we discussed about source and sink flow. Then we discussed about vortex flow. So basically, in all these three ideal flows, we try to actually and derive, find out the equations for psi and phi, and also keep this in mind when I say like vortex flow. Then basically here I am discussing about the free vortex flow, which is basically completely irrotational in nature, right? Free vortex flow, you can imagine this free vortex flow as an ideal fluid flow, because here the fluid we consider as, if you remember, we consider the fluid as steady, inviscid and incompressible, and as well as irrotational, right? So now let me talk one another very important type of flow, which is also a basic ideal fluid flow, which is called a doublet flow. So what is this doublet? So now basically I am going to discuss with all of you the superposition of flows, right? So now, why is this superposition of flows possible? How is it possible? See, when I said this del square phi and del square phi and del square psi both are equal to 0 for an incompressible and irrotational flow, right? Then it's very easy to guess that since both are satisfying the Laplace equation, this phi is linear, and at the same time both phi and psi, they are scalar functions. So if you have a scalar functions, then if you remember the laws of algebra, the basic laws of algebra, addition, subtraction, it is applicable to the scalar functions. So that means you can imagine not only this, you can construct many cases of ideal fluid flow by superimposing like different type of basic flow. Let's say one time you can superimpose this uniform flow with doublet flow, you can superimpose vortex with doublet flow, then you can superimpose doublet flow, let's say, with some other flow, that is source or sink flow. So different combination of these basic flows is possible. Why is it possible? Because we know this psi and phi both are scalar functions, right? And for this case, for a incompressible and irrotational flow, they phi and psi, they are basically linear and scalar in nature, and therefore the laws of algebra, the basic laws of algebra, they are applicable to them. Now let us move to this, right? What is a doublet flow? So a doublet flow is a superposition of a source and I am sorry, it's not supervision, it's superposition, right? So it is superposition of a source and sink flow of equal strength, right? So very important thing here, that I am saying that there will be a source flow, there will be a sink flow. We are imposing these two type of flows, but always keep in mind that both of them, they must have equal strength. Equal strength, that is K. So what is this K? So if you remember, K is mass flow rate divided by 2 pi rho, right? So now let me then go ahead. So let us say I have a source flow at point A and a sink flow at point B, right? So let me consider 2 points. At point A I have a source flow, at point B I have a sink flow. Now let me take another point P. So what is this point P? This point P is basically representing the combined effect of this source and sink flow. So let me take this point, arbitrary point P. So I am assuming that I am now interested to investigate the effect of this source and sink flow at this point P. Now if you join this point A with P, so it will, the distance AP, let us assume this as R1. If you join B with P, let us assume this distance as R2. Now again, the angle APB is given as theta. Now this line, again, this R1 vector, radius 1 vector, it is making an angle of theta 1. R2 vector, it is making an angle of theta 2, right? So these are my assumptions. Now let us move to this. So first of all, let us try to find out the equation for streamline. Then we will go for the equation for equipotential line. So basically in most of the cases, the streamline equations, they are enough to investigate the problem, okay? But still we talk of equipotential lines because many times we are interested in constructing the flow nets. The flow nets, they give a very good idea of what is happening in the flow fluid, right? So let us see this. Then we have, let us say at point A we have a source, so psi A is equal to minus k theta 1. So one very important thing I am going to mention here, that this negative sign, see, is usually if you go back to our previous equation here, right? So psi is equal to, here it is k theta plus c1, but basically if you see this VR, we should put a minus sign here because the radial velocity we are taking, let's say it is in the negative direction, right? So or basically here generally we sometimes we use a, let's say, negative sign to denote the direction of this velocity VR and v theta, but okay, it's fine, but not to be confused with this thing. So now let me actually denote this with a negative term, so don't get confused with the sign, it is nothing. So right now I am, let's say for the source flow I am taking a negative sign, that is right. So let's say this is psi a is equal to minus k theta 1, and definitely for a sink flow I will tell you why I considered a negative sign. So it will actually not affect our the final results, the only the sign change will be there. So now this will be a negative sign here I have considered. Now definitely, so this is for your source, and if you go for a sink then the sign will reverse. So psi b, that is the steam function for the sink flow, okay, so this is will be a positive sign, so the signs will be reversed. Now coming to the combined effect of these two, source and sink flow at point P, so psi p, or let's say the resultant stream function, now you can guess very easily here that since these two are scalar functions, they are simply added, psi a plus psi b, again you will get k theta 2 minus theta 1, you put these values into this equation, you will get k theta 2 minus theta 1, finally you will have psi is equal to k theta. So finally you will have psi equal to k theta. So it was actually more better to use basically the positive sign here, because see, your velocity vector in case of, so we are defining along this direction, right? So you can put a positive sign here, but why I did it, okay, so the reason for this was actually I wanted to keep this term in synchronization with the previous equations, right? So don't get confused, I'm repeating again and again, don't get confused with the positive and minus signs, they are nothing. So here if you observe here that I just wanted to keep my this equation for this stream function in case of a doublet flow in synchronization with, let's say, the equations for source and vortex flow and all these things, right? So that's why I took a negative sign there. Now finally if you see here, psi is equal to k theta, what is this? Now theta is your angle ABP, right? This is your theta angle, sorry, angle APB, and very clearly you observe here that very easily you can observe this thing here, that now this theta 2 minus theta 1, if by the law of exterior triangle angles, by the law of exterior angles, if you observe here that this theta 2 is equal to theta plus theta 1, so theta will be simply theta 2 minus theta 1, nothing else, right? So now if you see this equation very carefully, you will find out that in this case what are the streamlines. So the streamlines, let's say we know that along a streamline this psi will remain constant, right? So along a streamline, if psi is going to remain constant, then this theta, okay, the theta term will become constant. So in this case it is very obvious that streamlines will be circular arcs, very important thing I mentioned, with AB as the base chord. So if you remember that if you, let's say, take any chord here, and it doesn't matter, let's say you take a point here, so it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter like at what point you are taking, so this point, this point, this point, it will always subtend an angle of theta, right? And you know, like if you take this chord at the center, so at the center this is angle 2 theta, so this is always 2 theta, and that's why anywhere if you take any point on this and you join this, so it will subtend angle of theta, right? So now it is very obvious. Now what is your streamline? Your streamline is nothing, these are concentric circles which are subtending, so these are basically circular arcs, not concentric circles, you can say these are circular arcs, okay? So in this arcs, this AB acts as the base chord, right? So this AB, it acts at the base chord, and now this base chord, it basically subtends a constant angle at a particular point, okay? You may take this point or any other point, it subtends a constant angle theta on this circular arc, okay? So the base chord and this one, this whole area, this circular arcs, they are going to represent the streamline, right? So only thing is that your point P, it should be defined in such a way such that this angle APB remains constant. This is possible only when you draw this circular arc through all such points P1, P2, P3, right? So now this is your streamline. You can see here these are the streamlines for source, and in a similar way you can draw, let's say this not the source, it's for let's say the superposition of source and sink, right? A similar way you can draw it in, let's say in the downward direction as well. So these circular arcs you seeing here, these are all streamlines. Okay, now let me again discuss this thing in further details. So what about equipotential lines? So now equipotential line, it is very easy. Again we will go back to our previous equation. We know that phi A is equal to minus k ln r1, phi B is equal to plus k ln r2. Now it is very obvious that you have to again superimpose these two. So minus k ln r1 plus k ln r2, finally you will have k ln r1 by r2. Now again, for equipotential line, this phi p is going to remain constant, or phi is going to constant. So if phi remains constant, then that means this r1 by r2 is equal to constant, assuming that the strength of source, that is mass flow rate, that is not going to change, that is also going to remain the same. So right, so in this case you can assume here that this r1 by r2 is equal to constant, and finally you will have the equipotential pattern as circular arcs such that r1 by r2 is constant. So now circular arcs such that the ratio of these two lengths, this one and this one, it should remain constant, right? So but right now, okay, let's not go into that. I will come to that later on, or we will further simplify, and then we will try to draw the entire picture, right? Entire this pattern for equipotential line. So now what I'm basically interested, I'm interested to express this psi and phi in Cartesian coordinates. So I will go through this very quickly. So for expressing in Cartesian coordinates, it is very easy. That means you need certain dimensions along this x and y axis. So let us say at point A, I am considering that, okay, the point A coordinate is given by what? Minus b, comma 0. Point B coordinate is given by, okay, b, comma 0. Very important thing, right? So I am not actually right now interested in changing the position of A and B. So I am already fixed the position of this source and sink. And also very one beautiful thing, when you draw this circular arcs, so this circular arc should be drawn in this way such that the streamlines, they should look emerging from this point, right? So you can see here they are emerging from this point, and then they are moving along this point, they are sinking at point B, right? So in every case you are seeing this. So let us come to this. Then A, B coordinates we have taken. Then let us choose the coordinate for this point P as x comma y, because this is our arbitrary point, this is not defined. We are saying that, okay, we are just interested to find out this arbitrary point P, what is happening in the flow field at that particular point, right? So now it is very obvious that tan theta 1 is equal to y divided by b plus x. So tan theta 1 is this y coordinate perpendicular divided by b plus x, right? So see, this is your x coordinate with respect to origin, this is x, and this distance is b, right? This distance is b, and this distance if you go, then this is your x, right? So tan theta 1 is equal to b by y divided by b plus x. Similarly, tan theta 2 is equal to y divided by x minus b. So see, what are we interested actually? We are interested in expressing the stream function in Cartesian coordinate system. So you see here, if you see here, this psi is equal to k theta, which is theta 2 minus theta 1. So somehow we are actually trying to figure out theta 2 minus theta 1 in terms of x, y and b. So if we are able to do it that, then see, we can express this in a Cartesian coordinate system. So now you can see here, this is tan theta 2 minus theta 1 is equal to tan theta 2 minus tan theta 1 divided by 1 plus tan theta 1 into tan theta 2. Finally, you will have theta 2 minus theta 1 tan inverse of now 2by x square plus y square minus b square. Now very important thing here, okay, very important thing I would like to mention, that now this psi is given as k theta 2 minus theta 1. So finally in the end, if you observe here, then we will put psi is equal to minus k, okay, tan inverse 2by divided by x square plus y square minus b square, right? So now coming to a very important terminology, now you all can see here very easily, right? So you all can see here very easily that what is happening. Again I took the minus sign into the final equation, right? So just try to check out this, so don't get confused. So ultimately finally I included the minus sign, negative sign included, right, into the final equation. So actually I took this thing from a reading from a research paper, so I think they are they included confused with this plus and minus sign, but I would advise no to all of you that don't get confused with this thing. This is nothing, right? So either you take plus sign or negative sign. So let me take a minus sign here, then no problem. Okay, let us put it minus k and something like that. Okay, so finally we will have this equation. Now let us move to this. Now for special cases, very important thing I am going to mention. So till now I just discussed the stream function for superposition of, let's say, source and sink flow. But what is a doublet? Now coming to this doublet, for a special case, when this 2b tends to 0, and the strength of source and sink is infinite, very important. So if the source and sink, let's say they have infinite strength, right? So and when we see this 2b distance, this is very small. So now let me take you to the original diagram here. So if you go to this diagram, that means this A and B, now they are coming very close to each other, and the source strength K is infinite. So why is it so? Why we need to take this K as infinity, we will come to know. So finally, if you see here, when this 2b is tending to 0, so distance between source and sink, it reduces to 0, right? So the product of B and K must be a finite value. Why is it so? Let us see this. So we know that now what I am going to do, I am just going to take the limit. So when this 2b tends to 0, so now let us take the limit of, we know that if there is some angle alpha, so in this case this angle alpha is what? In this case this angle alpha is nothing, this is your theta 2 minus theta 1, right? Nothing, this angle, right? So now if you go to this, then we know that tan inverse alpha, if alpha tending to 0, then it should be equal to alpha directly. Okay, so if we incorporate these two, so finally we will arrive basically at this equation, that is minus 2kby divided by x square plus y square minus b square. But again we are assuming that this b should tend to 0, so this psi should be equal to minus 2kb multiplied by y divided by x square plus y square. So this is the equation for stream function when you have a doublet flow. Doublet flow means now your source and sink, they have infinite strength and they are lying very close to each other, right? So you can say the source and sink, they are coinciding, nothing else, right? So now these points two, point A and point B, okay, these two centers are coinciding, the 2b tends to 0. Now coming to this, why I said that it should possess infinite strength. So the reason for this is this product. Check this product KB. Let's say K is possessing some finite value and B is tending to 0. So definitely this psi is going to be 0, right? And if let's say this K, let's say this K, it is if you multiply this K with, let's say this has a like very high value, and this B is tending to 0. So if you multiply, let's say, some very high value with a very small value, then you know you will finally get a, let's say, finite value. So it is very easy to guess. Let's say I am multiplying 100 multiplied by 0.1, so you are getting something, some finite value, let's say close to 10. And let's say if I multiply 1000 0.000001, right? So again I will get some significant value which I can like actually consider in our analysis. So that is the reason that I am saying that this product of B and K must be a finite value. We should choose this K a very high value. So obviously it could not be infinity in actual situation, but it should be of very high strength, and this source and sink, they should lie very close to each other. Finally, if you further solve this equation, then in the end, okay, in the end, so let me actually do one thing. I don't want to confuse all of you. I am sorry, I actually put this discuss this negative sign too many times, but the fact is that I don't want to confuse anybody of you, right? So let me not go by this. Simply put a plus sign here. Not, let us not disturb our flow, right? So put a plus sign here. Put a plus sign here. Nothing else, right? So now the stream function is then simply given by psi is equal to psi c sine theta divided by r, because this 2 kb, now it is some new constant c, very easy to guess. Finally, you can see here that such a flow is called a doublet or dipole flow. So the flow in which the stream function is given by this equation c is equal to sine theta by r, that is called as a doublet or dipole flow. Similarly, for equipotential line, you can perform the same analysis. That means you can go back to this equation k r1 by r2, and you can perform the same analysis in a similar way, and finally you will come to the equation of a, let's say, equipotential line, which is given by phi equal to c cos theta by r. So let us say for a doublet, how do they look like? So let's come to first streamline. So if you go to this equation very carefully, then you will observe, then in this equation it is representing a family of circles such that, see, there is y term such that the center of these circles, so if you take it, let's say here, then it is x square plus y square. Now it is y, so definitely this constant term, if you remember our basic mathematics, that is x minus a ka whole square plus y minus b ka whole square is equal to c square. So now you can very easily guess from this equation that this is going to actually represent the equation of a circle, and it will represent a family of circles such that the center of all those circles, right, it falls, let's say, on the where, just guess it here. So the center of all these circles, it is going to fall on the y-axis, right? So this is our streamline. So now you can see here, all these are streamlines, these streamlines, these streamlines, all these are streamlines. And also one very important thing, see, whatever be the value of, if you put y is equal to 0, then psi will always be 0, right? So that means if you observe here that all the streamlines, now they all will be tangent to the x-axis, right? So at this point, let's say if your psi is going to be 0, then you can very simply find out from this equation that what is going to happen. Let's say put y equal to 0, so now this psi is equal to something, let's say 0, and in such cases you can very easily guess that what is going to happen, that all the streamlines, right, those which are concentric circles, they will become tangent to the x-axis. Now in a similar way you go for equipotential lines. Now equipotential lines, again, these are the equation of circles. Now you can see here that this is again going to represent a family of circles, but in this case, see, here it is x, right? So now it is x square minus x something. So we will actually, when we will bring this into this form, so try to figure it out yourself. So when we are going to bring this into this form, so finally it is going to represent the family of circles with centers on x-axis. Very important. Now for equipotential line, the center of these circles will be on x-axis. So these red ones which you are seeing here, all these are equipotential lines, right? So finally we have phi is equal to cx divided by x square plus y square, on simple words, phi is equal to c cos theta. And now again, all the equipotential lines, they must be tangent to the y-axis. So this type of flow which you are seeing here, this whole pattern is called doublet flow. So what is doublet? When you bring a source and sink flow of very high strength very close to each other, then you get a doublet flow, right? So I think most of the things we discussed here, and let me check if I am missing any important point. Right, so I think most of the things are clear. So two constraints we have to keep into mind. First of all, the source and sink, they should lie close to each other, and then the strength K, right, it should be increased to an infinite value, very high value, right? Then you can achieve actually a doublet flow, and in a doublet flow your streamline and equipotential line pattern, it will look something like this, right? So it is very easy to guess if you are going to compare with our previous diagram here. So you can very easily see this A and B, they are coming close to each other, and finally this chord it is going to diminish, right? And again this circular arcs, they will become complete circles. Right now they are arcs, right? But now they will become a complete circle, right? So for now I think this much is okay. In the next session, basically in the next video, I will be giving you some applications of these kind of flows: doublet flow, uniform flow, basic flow. So how are they actually applied in the real world, right? So in the next video we will discuss this. For now, let us end this.